Hi everyone, my name is Lisa Lively and this is my thesis project. The topic that I went with is technology and unplugging. So really have a long background with technology. I've been in the work field for over 10 years, working as IT support technician and IT help desk. So for me, it kind of, really hit home and our dependencies on it. So technology dependency has advanced our way of living while also making us lazy in everyday life. This has led to greater psychological issues, which with those psychological issues, they can affect not just your home life, but they can affect your work life and social life and everything that we do on a daily basis. So my goal was to see how that we could help improve our understanding of technology, using it to our benefit, but also dialing it back to promote a healthier relationship in living. I feel like I have a unique background and outlook on this. I was raised analog, which means we didn't have the technology that we have today. So no cell phones, and really, I didn't have cable. We had one home phone, which was a landline. So it was very analog, but my adulthood has been in the digital world. So I'm very much like to consider myself a zennial and not so much a millennial or some of the different things that they try to label us as. The disciplinary perspectives that I applied in the analysis of technology are business psychology and organizational leadership. Technology is quickly growing as a necessity, and as time goes by, it's become an inseparable part of life and business together. So technology consists of understanding how knowledge is creatively used in organized tasks, which involve people and machines meeting sustainable objectives. There have been a number of reports in literatures where well-established firms have failed to keep up with technology innovations. And because of this, their industries then lose their customer base. They also, their quality goes down. So when you don't keep up with that technology, you're lacking and you're not keeping up with the needs. So your customer service may be excellent, but what is being requested from consumers is more. I need it now, and I need it more. So on the other hand, we have being innovative is linked to unnecessarily or uncertainty, as well as a risk of failure. So while innovation increases the risk of failure of a firm in the short run, it can boost prospects in the long run. So it's really a hard medium and a fine line to walk, and you've got to stay ahead of the game. Like most other technological advances, communication devices have improved people's lives immensely. Once used, it's almost impossible for us to imagine life without those devices. I'm a prime example. I didn't have my first cell phone until I was 21 years old. And today at 36, I literally cannot leave the house without my phone. I use it for email. I keep up with my kids with it. I check their location, and if they're not answering and texting, I can make sure as what's going on. If anybody needs to get a hold of me, if one of the kids gets sick, at school, then I'm able to, get right to them versus having to call my work and find me if I'm not at my desk, and I'm out on a work order, fixing computers and printers and everything else. I'm all over campus. So it'd be a really difficult thing. I can't imagine leaving without it. So even though, it's great, it's also very much a burden. So really, we're trying to figure out what that happy medium is going to be. So my findings during all this research is we have the psychological well-being, which that refers to a theoretical concept that refers to a person's state of psychological equilibrium, and that's with Rodman and Fry in 2009. So part of the psychological well-being is social connections. Social connections are imperative. They're crucial components for a balanced individual who has attained psychological well-being. So in order to make those connections with people in social settings, and be able to interact and go into the real world and not hide behind a computer screen, you've got to have that, that well-being in your mind in order to really function. So with each new communication technology, there's a benefit and a detriment to our psychological well-being, and we have to find that balance. So, and really it's individualized. It really depends on that person, because what may work for me is not going to work for the next person. So, you've really got to be in a good balance of that well-being and technology and unplugging from that technology. As technology continues to advance, people continue to have less patience. And an extensive study from UMass Amherst surveying 6.7 million users, they uncovered that viewers tend to abandon online videos if they take more than 2 seconds when loading. I'm impatient, but 2 seconds is super fast. And the fact that they're impatient over just a video loading, what else is that affecting in their life? Posting tweets, Facebook status, Instagram photo, this all encourages and reinforces our need for immediate approval and feedback. It's also instant gratification. So this world has gone to now. I've got to have this, and I need this. It's a need that's built in with this technology. And if we don't, calm it down, it can be detrimental to our lives. Approximately 70% of adult millennials say that they can entirely or to a certain extent relate to FOMO, which is fear of missing out. And sorry guys, my 4-year-old is wanting to participate, just like he did in the first video. So fear of missing out, this is something that's really big right now. And 70% of adult millennials, that's a huge amount, and what is it that they're going to be missing out on? Really, that's a tough thing to really swallow. I found it really extraordinary that number was so high. The problem of the internet and social media is that when leaders constantly expose themselves to their content, particularly as often as they do now, they're constantly bombarding themselves with a stream of thoughts from other people. So in doing so, they're marinating themselves in a conventional wisdom, which results to group thought, and it leads to group thinking. And group thinking and group thought is great in group situations, but as an individual, you need to be able to think for yourselves. And there's too many of these individuals, 70%, that are fear of missing out, and they're always on their Facebook, always on Twitter and Instagram. They're just feeding themselves with what everybody else thinks instead of that individuality. So it's really a tough situation that we're living in right now. Even though as great as technology can be, it can really be, hard for us to get away from. So in conclusion, technology is a necessity in the world today. It really is. I'm living proof of that. My job is technology. I would not have a job if it wasn't for clients and people that don't have an understanding of that technology that I'm able to go out and fix. So even with that, nevertheless, there are some inherent risks in the use of technology. And that's not just in the business world, but in life in general. So we've seen that technology can threaten and overwhelm our brains. With that, technology is great, but if we unplug from that technology, we're going to have a better psychological well-being, which is going to help our social lives, our family lives. Just like, my little ones, I've got 3 boys, and we have to set aside those time limits and make family time, because if not, they're not going to know how to build their family. It's going to be more kind of an idiocracy in the movie where you're just living off of technology and not being able to think for yourself. So take it from me, unplug some and live a little bit. Y'all have a good night.
Was it good, Mom?